Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk, straight from their jocks about the jocks. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
All right, welcome everybody to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McLaurin. Alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Noodles? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the Know Show. Ready to go. Let's go.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. It's been a little bit here, and not a lot of news going on, but Joe, the newest and latest so far, Terry Mclaurin going in, getting that deal. We talked about it last week.
I know.
When we were covering the NFC East biggest questions.
They must have been listening.
They must have been. They must have said, hey, you know what? We're right. We're the Washington Commanders.
Right.
We need to get this guy locked in. We don't need him to sit there and maybe hold out and stuff like that. Let's get it done. This is our guy.
Absolutely.
Let's let everybody know that we want him here, and let's do the deal.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, too. It was a big thing because not only is he such an important part of that offense, I mean, God, he's one of the best receivers in the NFL right now. I mean, so you got to lock up a player of that magnitude. You got to keep him in-house, and they just got the deal done. So it was a 3-year, $71 million extension. Get this, everybody. This is the craziest part. So he signed a $28 million in a signing bonus. Signing bonus. He got a $28 million signing bonus, which is the biggest ever for a wide receiver to sign for that much of a bonus. So that was one part of the thing. That kind of just blew the doors open on this deal. But also,
you know you said it's the money.
as well,
Here comes the money, 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 money.
That's what he's saying right now, buddy. He's like, yo, I'm the top dog here.
And then besides that, 76.4% of the deal is fully guaranteed.
Boom. Yeah.
So not only you get that signing bonus, which is almost half of that contract, which is going to reduce that cap number now. That's going to help the team, and it makes Terry McLaurin one of the top 5 highest paid wide receivers. So with all that being said, it pleases both sides. It relieves some cap space down the road for the team to have some flexibility there. And also, they get to pay their guy and keep him there for 3 more years.
All right, we've got Dylan Gote in the house already with us,
What's
Joe.
going on, Dylan?
Boom.
What's up, buddy? Welcome.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, Terry McLaurin, they had to lock this in again. That's their guy. He was a star, since he joined the league. And even without having, Curtis Samuel there last year because of injury and stuff like that and the lack of other weapons there, still getting it done, when everybody knew it, so it's just tee off on him. That's this guy we got to stop. He's still unstoppable. And it's something that they needed to have in the house there for Carson Wentz to have success this season at all, So they get it done early, not going through training camps, trying to figure it out. Is he going to show up? What's the problem? And they get it done. As far as money, though, again, I mean, I could see him being top 5 paid. That makes sense because, again, he's got the value there. And I think overall the contract, fits completely for everybody. Everybody wins in this whole deal. You're not making him the highest paid, which I think is fine for them. Again, the bonus money's there, and it's all guaranteed, and that's what those players are looking for now, man. Give me that guaranteed money.
I mean, why wouldn't you be happy if you're Terry McLaurin right now? You just signed your name for $28 million. Instantly, boom, you get that in the bank. And then to follow that up, you have the highest guaranteed money that anybody has ever had at the wide receiver position. So you win both ways. You get to stay there, and I know that's something that Terry wanted. Terry wanted to stay in Washington, and he was hoping to avoid probably moving on from there. So the team and the player both get what they want. He gets paid more money. The team gets to keep him for a 3-year extension on top of his deal, and can't be any happier now in Washington. Now that you locked up a premier player to keep him on your roster. Now let's see what the rest of the season holds.
Dylan says here, Bobby Boucher jersey, dope show. There you go.
Right, thanks,
See,
bro.
he's got the jersey on.
No, what?
There you go.
buddy.
There it is. if you guys are listening to us via Spotify and everything like that, make sure you guys check out the video on YouTube or Facebook later on and see the Bobby Boucher jersey that Joe's rocking, which he has a lot of different jerseys. You're going to see it these next couple of weeks.
Yep.
He had the Mean Machine, I think.
That's
last
right. I
week.
had Paul Crew jersey last week. A few weeks back, I started wearing them. That's who I had. I had Falco from the Replacements. I have his jersey. So next week, make sure you tune in. I'll have a different jersey for next week.
Yeah, that's got to be a thing, maybe a segment. Joe's jerseys. There you go, like every week. But either way, yeah, we're super excited to have you guys with us again. Thank you, Dylan, out there. We're super excited to get this thing rolling here too now because
yeah, exactly. And real quick, let's just address all the new viewers out there. If you're new to the show and you want to find out, hey, how can I follow you guys? Listen, you can go on Facebook, search us up, Football on the No Show. Do the same thing on YouTube. If you're headed to YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button and then hit that notification bell to let you guys know when we go live. Listen, this is what we do. We're the best NFL talk interactive show you can find. Listen, you drop comments down below. You drop questions down below. Even drop your opinions down below. We are going to let them be known on this show. We are going to discuss what you want to discuss, regardless of what we have tallied up for the show. We'll break away from it, and we'll come right to you guys, because that's what it's all about. It's all about sharing information, all about bouncing off ideas, and that's what it's all about. Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah, we'll talk about bouncing off ideas, taking care of our know-it-all, stuff like that, Joe. June, the end of June's coming up right here, and SeatGeek right now, again, running the promo with us.
That's right.
It ends at the end of June, so this is the time to get it done here,
is the last
Joe.
time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So I mean,
man.
we just went to. Well, I'm sorry you didn't go, but a bunch of us went to a concert last night. Concerts, events.
Thanks for rubbing it in.
I'm sorry, but it was amazing. You go to SeatGeek.com, check it out, put our promo code in. Joe, why don't you tell everybody about that?
Listen, if you want to get tickets, this is the time right now. Listen, for anything. It is your only source. SeatGeek.com. Head there right now. If you're looking to buy tickets for concerts, any venue, anything that you want, this is the place to go to. I'm telling you why. Because right now you can get $20, not 20%, $20 off your purchase when you spend $50 or more. Bang, right there on the screen. Just by entering the promo code GOZ, G-O-Z. Visit SeatGeek.com to search by the event that you want, buy your tickets, use the promo code GOZ, one more time, G-O-Z. You get $20 off any ticket purchase over $50 from SeatGeek.com. Save some money, enjoy the summer, enjoy all the different venues, whether it be a sport that you like to go to, whether it be a concert like Jimmy just went to, and he used the promo code, so
absolutely.
he got locked in and got $20 off.
Oh, yeah.
Listen, go to SeatGeek.com, enter promo code GOZ, G-O-Z, and you'll get
now.
$20 off a $50 or more purchase. This is the place to get it. You have to go now. Utilize this deal that we got going on. It's a new sponsor, and we're really pushing this. Hey, listen, get $20 off right now. Do it.
Do it.
Let's
All
go.
right. So, again, thanks a lot. But, we have been looking around and seeing some of these hot takes that people are doing right now. When you're hearing the buzz about some of these things, too. Everybody likes to get their hot take. By the way, if you guys have a hot take for this upcoming season, drop it in the comments. Let us see it here. We'll talk about it here. Let's hear your hot takes out there. But we're going to note just a few that have come out here. And we want to ask you guys, what do you guys think about this and some of these takes here? If you agree or you disagree here. So let's roll into a few here. This one I saw, Zeke now will not have the most touches out of Cowboy running backs. We hear more during this season now, and people have even kind of banged on the drum, like Joe likes to say too, is to try and get Tony Pollard the ball some more, because even when he does get the ball, he seems like he's more productive than Zeke out there, kind of being left alone. And even though quietly, I think Zeke still has a decent amount of yards last year, still just kind of overshadowed by, some of the bigger chunk plays that Tony Pollard got when he had the opportunity and was given the ball. So people have maybe seen it now. Some of these analysts seeing the same thing, that we're seeing this trend now, especially with the way the coaching staff has kind of talked about Tony Pollard as well. And even Jerry Jones kind of, before during the talks about Zeke, kind of like Zeke who, maybe he's going to get more of the touches this season.
Yeah, it's very possible. And if you read the tea leaves from last season, you saw how more impactful, Tony was. Tony Pollard on the football field, whether he's getting the ball handed off to him or getting a pass and catching it and running up the field on the open field. It's something to be seen. And we've seen how impactful he was with this offense and how much he would actually escalate the production of this offense just by having him on the football field versus Zeke. I'm not saying that Zeke isn't a good running back. He is a good running back. But maybe for this style of offense, it works better to have Pollard out there more often. And we're hearing the reports out of practices and saying how much they're going to divvy up more touches to Tony Pollard. And why not? Because that's where he's more productive right now. Not saying that Zeke can't be, but he's just not as productive when Pollard is on the field. He adds a different element to the offense, almost like a spark when he's out there. So if you're smart, if you're the Cowboys, why not give him some more opportunities? We've seen what he could do with limited opportunities. Now, if you give him more opportunities, maybe bigger plays happen, you score more points, and then Zeke can come in, whether it be kind of like a spelling role, or maybe he comes in at the second half of the games and just pounds the hell out of the defense, into submission. So maybe that's something that they're thinking about and they're more entailed to do. So it would be smart for them. I think hands down, you got to get Tony Pollard more touches, and it's only right if you do so.
Yeah, I mean, again, you see this trend, see it coming. So you know what? This hot take, I agree. This could be something that you do see this season. Agree. So, I mean, with the way it is, especially if you look at Mike McCarthy's offense. We saw him back with Green Bay and stuff like that. He did have, I'm on green, things like that. And you see where he could be that type of running backs that, you get the speed, you get to be able to receive, you get to be able to run too as well. And it seems like Tony Pollard kind of fits that scheme a little better than what Zeke is. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing too, is like, and then, maybe McCarthy is coming around that idea and that mindset with Kellen Moore there to call the plays. They're both bouncing ideas off each other. Mm-hmm. But McCarthy, when he had Aaron Rodgers, it was like, I want to throw like almost every play. Mm-hmm. You don't have Aaron Rodgers anymore. You have Dak Prescott. Not to say that Dak Prescott's not good. He is really good quarterback. However, it's a different offense. It's different players. So you got to curb that offensive mentality based on what you have on the football field. So it's only right that Kellen Moore has been talking to McCarthy, just saying, hey, listen, I think that if we kind of change the offense up a little bit more, where we can run the ball, pass the ball, and utilize maybe Tony Pollard out of the backfield and passing downs and stuff like that, it's going to make us a tougher team to play against. So absolutely. So again, another hot take we saw. This is via Adam Shine here. He says Aaron Rodgers three-peats for the MVP of the league here.
That's aggressive.
That is pretty. That's flat out ballsy, Joe. Let's just say it's just ballsy here, because
it really is.
Again, we could see it the first two times here. Look at the weapons he had. Even when he said he didn't have other weapons, yes, and he had to bring Randall Cobb in and things like that. You still, when you have Devontae Adams on that side, for a guy that's your go-to guy. You're going to be able to get things like that, and it is Aaron Rodgers, but another year older than Aaron Rodgers. Now without a Devontae Adams here, and you look at the wide receiving core that they have now. What's going to go on here? You know what I mean? So that's really tempting the lines here. I mean, then you're really saying that Aaron Rodgers was the whole team and putting it on his shoulders and is going to get it done on his own this season and be the MVP. I mean, you've got other quarterback. You got possibly Deshaun Watson if he could play here, but we were seeing what's going on with suspensions. But also in the AFC, look at Russell Wilson now joining with the Broncos in that receiving core. You also have Patrick Mahomes that's still in the fold. People are still going to like Tom Brady and what he does here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he still has Chris Godwin, being able to play a full season possibly here for them. You know what I'm saying? With Mike Evans and stuff. So you're going to see all those quarterbacks as well. And to, fight off Aaron Rodgers in this, we're saying with his wide receiving core, that's going to be tough.
Absolutely, and that's the other thing too, is it's a huge adjustment right now for Aaron Rodgers. You don't have Devontae Adams, who was seen as the best or at least top 3 receivers in the league. You don't have him anymore. Now you're going to be relying on guys that have been there, like Alan Lazard. He just, by the way, he signed his tender, so he's back with the team. And they have other guys in place like Rodgers, the other second-year receiver of theirs, hopefully to grow into a bigger role. Randall Cobb is still hanging around. But the one thing that's missing now is that number one receiver element. They don't have a true number one. Now, they drafted a guy by the name of Christian Watson, who they're hoping can pan out to be that number one receiver and take the roof off the top of a defense and stretch the field and do all those things that Adams used to do. But he's a rookie. He's unproven right now. We don't even know how good this kid can be or if he'll be good. It's still a roll of the dice in the draft. So Watson, you got to like his measurables. He's about 6'4". He's fast. He can, he can catch. He can do all those things. But route running, he needs to get better on. And if he does all those things and he works hard with Aaron Rodgers and they get on the same page, yeah, potentially he could fill that role, but not as good as Adams right now. So a lot of it, Rodgers is going to have to rely on those vets, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb, and maybe with the second-year receiver, Rodgers, maybe he steps up and takes a stronger role this year. So Watson, still an unknown. They don't have a true number one as of right now. We still have to wait and see how this kid Watson pans out. And that all being said, without a true number one, it's going to be different for his offense. He might be able to nickel and dime his way down the field with Randall Cobb and Allen Lazard and all that, maybe a few to Watson, but now
utilize the running backs a lot.
I mean, he's been doing that, though. That's no different. I know. But the biggest thing is not having that big-time threat. Now defenses are going to be like, all right, you don't have Adams. That's cool. We're just going to bury your running backs. We're going to prevent you from running. We're going to make you one-dimensional. And because we know you're passing now we're going to be a little bit more aggressive in trying to bat the balls down and maybe get some picks.
All right, we got Mike Tackett in the house with us tonight, Joe.
What's going on, Mike? Yeah, let's go, Mike.
He says running back Aaron Jones will be Rodgers' number one wide receiver out of the backfield. Lazard is overrated. Cobb has become ineffective, and Amari Rodgers cannot stay healthy. There you go. There's Amari Rodgers, who you were talking about. Yep. But he is not big on Allen Lazard there either, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, and here's the thing. Allen Lazard, let's just say what he is. He's a possession receiver. He's not someone that's going to break your ankles. He's not someone that's going to take you deep over, for a touchdown. But he's a possession receiver who'll move the chains when needed and all that. And it's possible. Maybe Aaron Jones does become that number one type of receiver, but he's not out of the backfield. Sure, he could be that for you, but not a guy that's going to take you deep down the field all the time. You know what I mean? He's not lining up out wide. Right. So, this offense is going to have to be, I feel it's going to have to be even more creative this year rather than any other year with Davante Adams. So possibly they're going to get the ball rolling and they'll be able to figure some things out to get points on the board. It's Aaron Rodgers, right? Like, we all know what he's capable of. So it's going to come down to, Matt LaFleur and how creative his offense is going to be for Aaron Rodgers to execute and to work with all these different receivers and Aaron Jones and, all the parts on the offense all at once.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with you there too, with everything that Mike Tackett said there too, as well. Guy who knows football and knows the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. He's a Packers fan. So he's football educated. First of all, he's one of our OG know-it-alls. He's been here since day one. So he knows what he's talking about.
Absolutely. All right, so let's move on to the next one, which just happened like 3 days ago. But Keyshawn Johnson compares the New York Giants to the 2021 Bengals, Joe.
Really?
Like, he says they have that potential next year or this season to be that Bengals type of story. Which, I mean, me being a Giants fan, I mean, that would be amazing. But
would be amazing
I think that is, again, one thing we know, and Joe and I, we talked about it before, like, Keyshawn Johnson is a hot take guy. Let's just put it out there. There's a bunch of them out there. We talked about it too before. You've got Skip Bayless as one of them too. Shannon Sharp as well. I mean, it's just there
Matt
to
Kellerman,
make noise. I mean, you could come up with these things out of nowhere. I can easily say some things too. They could possibly be, especially Stephen A, but he doesn't know anything. But Keyshawn Johnson, again, it's got to be that guy. This is where sometimes it's confusing me with Keyshawn Johnson. Because even I've been just ready to write him off. I've just been like, yo, he has no idea what the hell he's talking about, like MJD. I'm like, dude, I just want to listen to him. It doesn't make sense. Then sometimes he does make a little bit of sense, and you have some point, and you're like, because he does know the game, he has played there, knows what it's like to be in the locker room. So you hear those stories, and then you're like, yeah, okay. But then when he does stuff like this, you're kind of like, yeah, I don't think so. Because he started to make some sense with, hey, you got Brian Daboll in there, the Bills organization, the Bills GM. You saw what they did with Josh Allen after that first season, worked with him. Josh Allen cleans up his mistakes, gets the ball going here, and is able to lead his team to a better record, and yet further now into the playoffs, where they were like basically going to be the Bengals basically last year until that overtime game kind of thing. So he sees that potential, and maybe what Brian Daboll could do with Daniel Jones and eliminate the mistakes. And then if you get a healthy Saquon Barkley as well, now that defense getting tuned in under Wink Martindale, you could see some potential in them getting better. But when he loses me is when he says that they could be the Bengals. I don't know. I'm just hoping that they can be over 500 and I see the actual improvement on the field.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a very giant leap, pun intended, because Keyshawn Johnson, here's the problem, Keyshawn, is maybe you should put the mic down and just walk away. Just walk away from that. Listen, I got a flag football roster spot for you if you want to play. Just saying. But other than that, I think you should just let the adults talk, because when you make an accusation like, oh, well, I think the Giants are going to be just like the Bengals of 2021. What gives you that impression? Because if you think about the Bengals from 2021, what did they have? A really good young receiving core already. Their offensive line, okay, I could see similarities with the Giants O-line and the Bengals O-line if that's kind of where you're going with it. But Joe Burrow compared to Daniel Jones, I'm sorry. Yeah. Joe Burrow in his young career is already proven. Daniel Jones still hasn't been proven yet. Still making bad decisions, still turning the ball over. So I don't see the comparison on offense. And then you go to look on the defensive side. Okay, maybe that's where he's going with it, where Bengals defense was pretty solid, pretty good, where the Giants were kind of right there with them. They were a kind of an ascending defense last year. And they lost, guys like Blake Martinez to injury and stuff. Now he returns. So, okay, maybe that. But all in all, like overall, when it comes to an important position like quarterback, I'm sorry, there's no comparison between Burrow and Daniels, just none at all. So for that, to me, it's not a comparison. The Giants have just received a new coaching staff. They got to learn a new offensive and defensive scheme. That's unlike what the Bengals were. The Bengals didn't come in with a new scheme and everything and just all of a sudden surprised everybody. This was like, Burrow has already had a year or two with this offense, so now he understands it. Very different. Sorry, Keyshawn, you're wrong. It's that simple.
Yeah. I mean, again, you're kind of stretching. I understand where you're coming from. Like you said, you could see some similarities. But even at the quarterback thing, it's not even close. Because, again, Joe Burrow drafted, number one overall. Even when he started playing, instantly you saw the success until he got injured, and then comes back, and he's just like the same guy.
And then let's compare the receivers.
Oh, yeah.
Giants totally are injury riddled.
Oh, yeah.
Sterling Shepard has had a hard time staying healthy
throughout his career.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have Galladay come in, supposed to be that number one threat that they were all looking for. He's banged up all year long, and he just like you watched, he was having trouble getting separation, and maybe that was the offense. We'll see. But a lot of issues there. So to me, it's like not really. We see similarities, however. It's not going to be like that for the Giants in 2021.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what do you guys think out there? Again, give us your hot takes. Mike Tackett, if you got some hot takes out there, let us know.
Drop them down in the comments.
What's up in there in the comments. And finally here's another one that we saw, which was kind of funny too. Tom Brady will affirm his interest in playing 2023, but not necessarily in Tampa.
Ooh, look at that. That's interesting,
Another
right?
one too. How about that one, Joe?
And that's something that could happen. Because if anything has taught, if last year taught us anything, let's just go back to that. Tom Brady, I announce I'm officially retiring. I am done with football. I'm moving on. I'm going to stay home with my family. I'm going to do things with my kids. to a month later, all of a sudden changes his mind. Nope, I'm coming back for another run, everybody. And this is, this all plays a part because without Tom Brady, this team was going to be a little bit, I don't care how many weapons they had. If you don't have a quarterback.
Oh, it's a total difference.
It's totally different. And this team, as good as they are, without a quarterback, I don't really know how far you're going to get. So luckily for Tampa, Tom Brady decides to come back. And now let's wait and see. So, I mean, listen, Tom Brady, he's done it before where he's officially retired and now come back. 2023 might not be any different. Maybe he decides to officially retire again. And then 2 months later, I got the itch. I got to come back. But I'm not under contract anymore. Mm-hmm. Now I'm basically a free agent if I decide to come back. Now I can sign anywhere. Who needs help? Who can actually, maybe the Saints. Maybe, Winston fails this year. Andy Dalton didn't get it done either. Tom Brady comes to the Saints and boom, magically makes the Saints
tell you what, though,
Super Bowl team.
Again, you see it, and you saw. We talked about it last year, and even 2 weeks ago when we talked about the biggest questions facing the Bucs. Losing Bruce Arians was nowhere near as bad as losing like Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so then they got Tom Brady back here because besides that, you would have had Blaine Gabbert play quarterback here for you. Mm-hmm. I mean. Don't get me wrong, he's been a starter in the league, but still he's no Tom Brady, and he would have been okay. But I don't see them making the playoffs with Blaine Gabbert. Even though they have the weapons that they have, it's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? A tougher road.
And
with Tom Brady there, I mean, it's almost a definite, if not a good push to even make NFC Championship game.
And what's to say that Tampa doesn't start to get into that trading for a quarterback race? You know what I mean? Maybe Jimmy G finds himself in Tampa if Brady did, in fact, stay retired. So a lot of different things could have transpired. But luckily for them, Tom decided to come back.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy when I'm
But but one thing when you talk about teams that might be up for eligibility next year, that if he does play, like you said, it's a hot take, but not in Tampa. How does the Miami Dolphins sound if they don't do well with Tua this year and they're not sold? Just bring in Tom Brady again, and then maybe even draft another quarterback to fill the shoes. I'm not sure, but they're with the talent that they have. Again, Tyreek Hill and those guys there. On offense, the running backs too as well. I mean, that's a team that's kind of built to win right now. For Tom Brady to make a run.
Definitely.
Another team that that could have weapons. He'd jump on board with them too. But there you go. But imagine that now. Tom Brady joins the AFC with the other young guns that are there too as well. You got Josh Allen. You've got Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson. I mean. Then the AFC, what's the NFC going to do? They're saying, please, Aaron Rodgers, just hang with us, please, still, because what else does the NFC have?
I mean, and that's the thing, too, is like we've noticed this offseason a lot of premier talent from the NFC has transferred over to the AFC, making this AFC conference extremely hard.
It reminds me of the old days when it was the AFL and the NFL. You know what I'm saying? When you had the different, not conferences, but different leagues.
Yeah.
Which one was the stronger one? Which one was that? And it looks almost like the AFC, like AFL, is like, boom, we're bringing all the talent to our side.
And that's the thing is like the AFL or AFC also had a different element. They had the passing game involved, whereas the NFC was heavily run. It was just all nothing but run. So now you're looking at just players. Now, like the AFC has kind of like turned a new leaf, and now they got a lot more talented players. Not to say that the NFC isn't, legit, but let's just say what it is. AFC has definitely made their conference a hell of a lot stronger.
Absolutely. But let me tell you about making something stronger. Let's talk about your relationship with your car, with your able to get to work on time without it not breaking down, stuff like that. If you want to trade in your car, you have to go visit our friends here at Mohawk Honda. They're still doing the Kelly Blue Book instant cash offer. Check them out there, Freeman's Ridge Road or MohawkHonda.com. Look, even the supply chain is still facing challenges out there. They were having a hard time getting cars here, but not at Mohawk Honda. I see this lot every day when I drive by there to get to work. It is fully stocked. Not even with just Hondas that are there, brand new ones, but also the trade-ins too that from other people taking
Used cars.
opportunity here on the Kelly Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. So check them out. Go there. They're always out there to please you too. Don't forget about Cars with Curran out there. Swoboda. You've got C-Mac. Let's do a deal. And that's also, Lewis, the VIP man, Morales. And if not, if you don't want to talk to those guys too, you can just say, hey, lead me to the general manager, Greg Johnson. I want to talk to him. He's the man. He will take care of you out there, put you in the car you want, at the price you want, the one you deserve, the one you want to be rolling with your friends. That's right. Go to MohawkHonda.com or visit them on Freeman's Ridge Road where they go out of their way to please you. Absolutely, Joe. So the last couple of weeks now, we're going to be doing it throughout this kind of lull that we have in the off season until camps start kicking in. We do this segment about asking the biggest questions kind of facing this team, and that's what these teams are facing right now. Before you get into some of those padded practices and where they might you see pulled hamstrings, stuff like that, injuries happen. So
that's
they have to
happening
make
right now.
moves. Oh, I know it is early even now, but so roster changes, and even after moves that they've done in the draft, what are they going to do now? Do they still have a void? Do they still have a hole? What thing will they be facing this year that they could correct from last year? So we're still handling the NFC, and this is the final one for the NFC here this week. We got the NFC West's biggest questions here, Joe. That's right. So what do you think the biggest question here is for the Arizona Cardinals here, Joe?
It might have something to do with Kyler Murray.
Well, there you go. Let's take a look at it. Will Kyler Murray fix his mistakes and get the Cardinals to the NFC Championship game? Joe, take it away. What do you think?
This is the thing for the Cardinals. Listen, last year they were just kind of blowing the doors off the league. They ended up with a 12-win record. They seemed to be on top of the mountain, and then down the stretch, I don't know what happened. I don't know what changed, but Kyler Murray started to make some weird decisions and some very bad, inaccurate throws. And maybe it comes down to mechanics. Maybe it just came down to decision-making. But we noticed him struggle down the stretch. And he's got to correct those mistakes. He definitely has to. In order to take this team another step forward and to get over that big hurdle that's been kind of eluding this franchise, to return back to the Super Bowl, to have another chance to win a Super Bowl, Kyler Murray's got to iron out those mistakes. Can he? Will he? We know that he's going to be trying his damnedest, but I think what was good for them last year is to have those mistakes, because it was a teaching moment, a teaching phase for Kyler Murray. And now that he kind of realized, okay, well, I can't just do everything myself. I have to rely on my playmakers. I have to rely on getting the ball to them and making smart decisions. So it was a learning curve for him. Let's see if he carries that into this season. Listen, they were electric last year. Early on, they were just killing it. Defense got better. Defense got stronger in the offseason. Their offense is extremely potent now. They did pull off a trade for Hollywood from the Baltimore Ravens. They bring him over to kind of supplant DeAndre Hopkins, who is going to be suspended for the first part of the year. So they don't lose anything. But then when Hopkins comes back, this is what makes this team even more scarier. Is now you got to deal with Hollywood, A.J. Green, and DeAndre Hopkins, not to mention Rondell Moore, who kind of, in his rookie year last year, kind of had huge plays, throughout the season. He's going to end up being one of these starting impactful type players for this offense. And when they also brought back James Conner to kind of solidify the running back, this team is not only dangerous from last year, but also they got even stronger this year with this defense. They look like they could definitely run the table. However, it's all going to be depending on Kyler Murray.
Right, absolutely. And you saw some of it was the offensive line, and they made some changes this year.
Which concerns me.
Yeah, I know. But even, again, because one of the changes you even do, though, you go out and get Will Hernandez, who wasn't a very good pass blocker at all for the Giants.
No.
And now you plug him in there at the guard position. I don't like that at all. You know what I mean? It might help in your running game, which is nice. But didn't help you get protection, because the one thing we did see last year when they made that playoff game, again, he's throwing 55% in completion percentage, got sacked twice, and couldn't put up any points. Right. Kyler Murray just got shut down. He was getting pressured, and when he felt the pressure, he made mistakes and couldn't be himself. And this, Cliff Kingsbury has said, this team revolves around whatever Kyler Murray does. So if you're able to shut him down just like that, pressure him up the middle, especially, is what teams have done. And there it is. It's all said and done to where you're making those big mistakes. And we saw last year, I think even when he threw that, I think the interception right there in the goal line, it was just pitiful. He just looked really bad. And now that he's trying to even try and work out another deal after the last performance, it's tough. But what else do they got to do? They need this guy. He is their guy. They got to get him in there moving forward. But like they said, it all revolves around him, but the choices that they've made now on offensive line is still kind of suspecting. That's the one thing I kind of see where they're kind of lacking. And they've lost some stuff. They've lost some guys on defense, too, as well. You got to think about, Chandler Jones, not having him. He was a key part of their defense. And, as far as some of the other losses, like Christian Kirk, they still have the talent there at wide receiver now, too, as well. Like you said, bringing Hollywood Brown in. That would help. But if you're getting pressured and you can't get him there, they had, talent there last year, and he wasn't able to get him there in the playoffs. And that's what you need. That's when you need him the most.
Well, despite what, the Jaguars think and believe in Christian Kirk is not Marquise Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Not at all.
Oh,
it's
absolutely.
a definite upgrade. And on top of that, they just got him even more weapons. Even in the draft, they drafted Trey McBride, my number one tight end coming out.
Yeah, it's got to be the tight end tier. You
have Zach Ertz and Trey McBride. I mean, there's so many possibilities with this offense. So at this point, there's no excuse for Kyler Murray, despite not having maybe a completely solid offensive line. Like, to me, the right side of that O-line, not just Will Hernandez, but also Kelvin Beachum, who they just added at right tackle. I don't know how well they're going to, acclimate to this offense. Are they going to play better? Are they going to be, the same? We'll have to wait and see on how they utilize their offensive blocking scheme. But when you have this many weapons, though, there's a lot of places you can go now as Kyler Murray. You know what I mean? So now he's not tunnel vision into, having to throw it to, where what used to be Christian Kirk, or now you're going to have a multiple, weaponized type of an offense that's going to be very hard to stop just everybody. You listen, everybody can make jokes about AJ Green all they want, but he's still a good receiver in the league. But then you put him with some young guys, and on top of that, some tight ends that can be involved. Also, the running back out of the backfield that they like to do on occasion. So this is Kyler's year that he's going to have to make another big step forward. And like we've been saying, it's up to him this year. There's no excuses at this point. Like you can say, oh, well, there's a little bit of weakness on offensive line. I'm sorry. That doesn't matter anymore, because not only is Kyler Murray extremely mobile, but also with all this talent around him, there's no excuse not to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the biggest question they got to be facing at this point. Because, again, if you're telling us that the whole team revolves around what he does, then this is the year, and especially after he gets paid, you better see what he does.
And I love what they did with the defense. I know that they lost, a big part of their defense, but however, this defense, which is getting better every single year with these younger players, they were one of the better defenses last year. And you're not only are they growing together, but this offense as well. So they're a young team, they're up and coming. Let's see what they can do this year. And just like, we're beating it like a dead horse, but it really is up to Kyler.
Yeah. And I mean, it's sad loss by losing Jeff Gladney too earlier this year too in a car accident. You know what I mean? So it's just terrible for them, though.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a sad. And what is up with the recent deaths this year?
I don't know.
It's been been crazy. Like there's been older vets that have passed away. For like, I remember the Cowboys had one of them. The Baltimore Ravens had two. They had they had one of their young 26-year-old. I think it was Jalen Ferguson. He passed away, and it's like, what is happening? So like in the NFL circles, it's a very sad period of time for the families and friends that were involved.
Yeah, and even a few greats too, is again passing on, with everything
crazy
and stuff too. But
crazy.
Yeah, what do you guys think about biggest questions here for the Arizona Cardinals as well? Do you agree with Kyler Murray and things like that? And if that's the thing that needs to change this year. All right, next up we've got the Los Angeles Rams here, returning champions. So I guess the only question here for them is, are the Rams primed for another run? I mean, a lot of the same guys coming back. Von Miller moves on now after he was that extra chess piece that they added alongside of Aaron Donald to make that playoff run. It's kind of like the way baseball runs. When it got towards playoff time,
you
know what I'm saying? You see who they grab and quick, who's that other guy in the bullpen they could throw in there to just help get them over that hump to make that playoff run.
Right.
And that's what the Rams did, straight up. And Von Miller now, he's over now with the Buffalo Bills, who, again, they're trying to make another playoff push here, and having him on the other side, too, with some of the weapons that they have with them is pretty dangerous as well. But moving forward, they don't have Robert Woods anymore. Odell Beckham Jr. still in the free agent list there. And now you got Allen Robinson, who fits in there nicely. Still Cooper Kupp, was Matt Stafford's favorite target last year. You got to see Cooper Kupp at his absolute best last year and what he could do, and kind of put the rest, like, we kind of knew what he could do, but it wasn't until he got like a Matthew Stafford there to really open it up and see the whole deal, what you can get with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, absolutely. And this offense has changed as well. Without having Odell, they replace him with Allen Robinson. And let's just face it, Allen Robinson is no Odell. He's a good player, but I don't put him in that category of being like one of these super elite type of receivers. Don't get me wrong, he's a really good receiver, but in terms of being such a dynamic weapon, I don't see him as that. He has put in his time. He's definitely helped out some teams along the way, like the Jaguars and the Bears while he was there. But he isn't a guy that is that dynamic to me. Like, he's a really good asset for the Rams to like a fill-in role, who they're hoping that is going to be that healthy receiver that they wanted Odell to be. But with Odell's injury and everything, they decided to move on. Also, their offensive line took a little bit of a change with right guard. They ended up drafting their replacement, Logan Bruss, who I feel is going to be a great fit. And defensively, some things have changed. It's not the same defense altogether. Yeah, they bring Aaron Donald back. They agreed to this massive contract. He's coming back for at least one more year. But also, another huge addition was Bobby Wagner, a guy that since Seattle moved on from, a lot of people were interested, a lot of teams, and why wouldn't you be? Still getting it done at a Hall of Fame level, player like he is. They land Bobby Wagner to kind of replace that inside linebacking role. I think that is a bigger addition than anybody else, because now you have a true captain of the defense besides Donald, but now you got a guy at linebacker who's going to be calling the plays, who's been there, done that. He's won a Super Bowl before. He's won in the playoffs. He has that experience like all these other teammates of his now do. And you add him to that element and how good he is, this defense, I feel like, is going to be even better this year than last year. And offensively, it's going to be a little different. No Odell, so I think that's going to change a little bit, but Cooper Kupp, I think, will make up the difference nonetheless.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at the team all together, again, you get Cam
They're
Akers
built to
for
win.
more of the season now this year, too, so he can stay fully healthy, hopefully, for them, too. And they can do it. Again, like Joe said, he said, are they primed for another run? They are. They've got another opportunity. They've got the chance. And, again, even though now, I think for some – because we don't know how long Aaron Donald will stick around for, because, again, he wanted to run it back. It was a question in the offseason here whether he was or not. And during I think it was the parade even, he was like, yeah, let's go run it back, and excited. And so let's do it. Yeah. We don't know how much further they have, especially with the way this team has been, working their trades and stuff like that, and, not having picks here and there. Going all in, and they were able to capitalize on the championship. Now they're looking to get a couple strung together before they got to maybe hit that reset button.
And that's the thing too with this Rams team is they just like we're seeing a new trend in the NFL, right? Like we're seeing more trades to get veterans on a team that is kind of surging towards the playoffs. And the Rams did it this year, and people took notice and like, hey, wait a second. They traded for Von Miller. They got this guy, the other guy. They had Odell before he got injured, and they made that push. They made it all the way to the big dance. They won the Super Bowl, and now teams are like, hey, wait a second. Maybe this is a new way that we could build this team quick and maybe have a chance to do what the Rams did. So, and you're seeing that with teams this offseason. Ton of trades happened. Ton of big-name trades. Tyreek Hill going to Miami. Devontae Adams going to the Raiders. Like a lot of huge names that went to different teams that we didn't even anticipate that were going to be able to be traded. So a lot of things have transpired. Even Matt Ryan going from Atlanta, now he gets traded to the Colts. I mean, who knows? You see teams now starting to try to copy what the Rams did in hopes of following in the same path there.
Absolutely. All right, Joe, it's been a great show. We're talking about the NFC West biggest questions, but no question about it here was our friends at Johnstone Supply and what kind of business they do for everybody and how they take care of you, especially with the summer right now. People don't know it around here, but New York, we're hitting they're supposed to hit like 98 degrees on this Friday, I think.
Oh boy,
it's going to be crazy. My kids, we do taekwondo and stuff like that. The AC, you know what? I should refer Tay to Johnstone Supply because their AC unit broke. Kids had to cancel the taekwondo practice tonight because the AC was not working. He did not want to put them in the heat and the conditions that are out there today. It is hot as balls out there, and we're going to tell everybody about Johnstone Supply.
Summer is here, if you haven't noticed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And for
feeling the heat, baby.
That's right, in the Northeast. You can definitely feel the heat.
And
if you want to stay cool all summer long, call Johnstone Supply in Troy. Ask the team at Johnstone Supply about their high-efficiency central air conditioning systems and ductless mini splits. Goodman, Fujitsu, Westinghouse, they got it all. They're all in stock and at great prices. Need someone to help you guys install the new system? Well, guess what? Yeah, you guessed it. Johnstone Supply are going to be right there for you. Right there in Troy. Can help you with that too. Give Tom, Kev, James, and Bird a call, and they can help you guys out. To stay cool all summer long, call Johnstone Supply in Troy, New York at 518-272-5922. That is 518-272-5922 in case you're writing it down. Or visit them at 2600 6th Avenue in Troy, New York. Or connect with them at johnstonesupply.com and get linked up with them. They're going to help you out with anything, heating, cooling, anything. And if you have any questions, they're free. They're there, free to help. There you go, Johnstone Supply.
Absolutely. We love those guys there. Can't wait to talk some college football with Tom out there. He's a big Notre Dame fan and stuff like that.
Where is Tom lately?
I don't know.
I'm concerned. We need to send a search party out and find Tom Leiter.
Oh yeah, we need
one
to
of our
find Tom
OG
too as well. Yeah,
OG know-it-alls out there. We're a little concerned now. We haven't heard
That's
from
true.
him recently. We don't know, what has transpired.
I don't know.
Hope everything is okay.
Maybe can't get a strong enough signal there in Seattle. To get us.
Could
I'm
be
not
possible.
Sure. Could be like that. But we got a lot of news coming forward towards you guys too. We're working on a new monthly show type of idea for everybody. So
That's right.
We got some stuff in the burner for you guys. So we're super excited about that. We'll let you guys know more details about that moving forward. But Joe, let's get back into the NFC West biggest questions. We're headed to the San Francisco 49ers. And I guess the question for them is who gives the Niners the best chance to win right now? Jimmy G? Or is it Trey Lance?
And this has been this question that people, is Jimmy getting traded? Is Trey the starter? What's going on? We don't know. And this has been going back and forth for the Niners organization. They've been trying to figure some things out. They're still going through mandatory OTAs right now. And the biggest thing that we're hearing out of OTAs is that they are not 100% in on Trey. Just not buying it yet. Trey Lance is, from what we're hearing, don't know if it's true, but we're hearing that he's not impressive. He's not impressing the coaching staff. He's a little behind the eight ball, so to speak. And we all know that Jimmy G isn't an elite quarterback, but what Jimmy G does well for Kyle Shanahan and his offense is keep the boat moving. You know what I mean? They like to run the ball, and then when they're not running the ball, Jimmy G just distributes that ball to, Kittle, George Kittle, and company, and Deebo Samuel. And that's the other thing, too, is there's another question about Deebo. Is Deebo going to stay a Niner? Is he going to be moved on? Are they going to possibly trade him before Week 8? Because these are some concerning issues. Is one, we got Jimmy and Trey. And to be completely honest, if the Niners are smart and they can keep him, Jimmy would be the ultimate starter for them. Trey Lance, listen, we said it before the draft, and when he got drafted, we were kind of shocked where he got drafted, 3rd overall. And, I was saying to Jim, and Jim was like acknowledging, is like, this guy needs a lot of development still. He is not worth that high of a pick, but they fell in love with him. They drafted him, and now you're seeing the results of it. He still isn't the starter. When you're picked 3rd overall, you're expected to start maybe that year or at least the following year.
Well, the fact that, too, I mean, again, they moved up into that spot with that trade. I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And then they moved up like around there to grab him. And first you were hearing it was maybe moving up to get Mac Jones and stuff. And then later on you started to hear it went to Trey Lance that Kyle Shanahan was just really in love with this guy, that he can run his type of offense that he wants. But everybody else, again, saw him as a project type of guy, like has the athleticism. That's what I mean. He has a lot of the tangibles. Yeah. I mean, just needed to kind of get led there. That's all. And he hasn't got there yet.
No.
So that's the big question for the 49ers, because it's one of those things like that. Again, I always kind of ask this question, and that kind of bothers me a lot with franchises, with any sport. You have a guy that takes you to the playoffs just about every season right now, Joe. Every season, this guy is taking them far. I mean, and still not getting the respect that he kind of deserves. Whether he's not lighting you up with his arm and throwing deep bombs here and there and just putting up points just like that, like Tom Brady or like Aaron Rodgers, stuff like that. But stick with him. He's been that guy that's gotten you there. He's gotten to the Super Bowl before. He's gotten to the playoffs with your team before. He's controlling the offense. No, at times he has struggled under high pressure, but a lot of quarterbacks do. And again, if you ask people, how do you stop Tom Brady? You got to pressure him. Well, duh. Like that's what it's your intent to do with a quarterback. And no matter what, despite all of that, he's still getting slacked in the talk about getting moved on, trade. Is he that good? Let's go somewhere else. It's still not wanted. And it's kind of weird, for them, because, again, he's got him there every single year. He's there. He's your best quarterback in the house right now at this point, and he's got one more year left on his contract, I think, Joe. So, I mean, why not have him there, make your next run again with him? Maybe Trey can get it through this season now, and then he's prepared maybe after this season, or maybe just now start to admit that maybe we effed up. You know what I mean? And now we need to do something else, go into a different route. But with this trade talk and stuff like that, I mean, it doesn't – the only way it makes sense, and we were talking about it earlier, is that if you really needed to cut that contract, because that's what I think what really it is with people. They see the money, and – he's gotten them to the playoffs, though. I mean, he's had more success than Kirk Cousins, though. When you talk about money,
right,
and you look at the success, I think Jimmy G has more success than Kirk Cousins had.
I would say so,
you know what I'm
too.
saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, and you don't hear that talk about Kirk Cousins at all. You know what I'm saying? But Jimmy G, that's what it is. But the only way it makes sense to move on is to help get that deal to get Deebo his money.
But that's the problem, though, with Jimmy G's situation, is he's already owed $25 million. Mm-hmm. If you trade him before Week 8, you save $25 million in cap space, and that is much needed because as of right now, they have $4 million under the cap. Next year, if they don't move on from Jimmy G, they're not going to be able to afford him anyway. So that's the issue, and that's why people have been talking about him being traded, because it's almost like they have to do it. They won't be able to afford him after this season, and because not to say that they can't, because you can manipulate the cap. You can restructure deals and redo some contracts to try to get a deal done, maybe a year extension, maybe 2 years. But you took a quarterback 3rd overall. You had complete confidence in Trey Lance to be the future. At some point, and the future's right now, At some point, you have to hand the reins over to Trey and say, hey, listen, you're the guy now. We have to work with him. We've invested a extremely high pick on him. We have to make it work. We just have to. And that's why we're starting to hear Jimmy G move on or maybe get traded or whatever. The smart thing, yes, the smart thing is to keep Jimmy G and let him play this year. But also, you may need some compensation if you're looking for another quarterback. So it may be a good idea to trade Jimmy now, get whatever you can for him, and give Trey the reins. And I know it might be a little bit of a bumpy road and not the right decision because it seems like as of right now, you've missed on Trey Lance. Mm-hmm. You miscalculated and you kind of fell in love with his strength of his arm, his mobility that he has, and his size. And you didn't take I'm sorry. I'm going to say you didn't take the right quarterback. You should have took Mac Jones, who would have already been your starter. Mm-hmm. He would have already been your starter. Jimmy G would have been long gone. And Niners fans would have been fine with that. But
that would have fit better, yes.
But you took a bigger risk in bringing Trey, who needs a lot more development. So because of all that's transpired, it looks like it is almost a certainty, that Jimmy G is going to be moved on from. He's going to be traded eventually. Maybe not right away. Maybe they're going to wait till after training camp to see if they can get Trey Lance up to speed. Enough anyways, before they pull the trigger, but that seems to be what's going to happen. And the whole other deal with Debo, that's just another crazy situation right now. So the Niners are kind of in this weird limbo right now with a couple of players, and they got to make big time decisions. A guy who's still young in Debo Samuel, they definitely want to lock him up. They want to keep him, but the finances just aren't. It's hard to get an agreement done. Debo wants to be paid his due diligence because, listen, if he wants to be used as a running back / receiver, kind of that hybrid that he's complained about. He said, I just want to be a wide receiver.
Right.
I don't want to do this anymore where I'm running the ball too. If that's the case, the money is going to be large. He's going to want to be paid in that kind of top 5 end because of how important he is to this offense. And that's what he's been saying to the organization. I'm not really sure the Niners can even get there because they're already struggling to pay. They have $4 million to play with this year. Next year, when Jimmy G's contract moves on, or maybe this year if they decide to trade him, that's $25 million in cap space. Now you got some money to maybe negotiate with Debo. So that's also a trigger. If they move on from Jimmy G, now maybe they have a way better shot of locking in Debo to keep him there in his prime. So this team, they got a couple of humongous decisions along the way as we get closer to the season. On top of that, right now, if Jimmy G is the quarterback, they have a shot to not only make the playoffs, they have a shot to maybe make the Super Bowl.
Right. Right. And is that what your goal is? It's got to be this year, right? I mean, again, because if you're starting Trey, then you're saying, even if what you're hearing out of camp, if he's not ready, then to me, you're saying we needed to get rid of Jimmy just because of the cap hit to try and save Debo, and we'll see what we got. But do we have enough firepower? I mean, their defense is good enough to get them far, too. I mean, so that's the one thing, too. So you will be basically saying, let's rely on our defense, and we're going to work that offensive scheme to be able to use Debo Samuel on the running game, get our strong power running game going, and just have Trey limit the mistakes so let's not get the ball in his hands as many times to screw it up.
The thing, too, with Kyle Shanahan's offense is it fits Trey Lance.
It does.
And that's kind of why he fell in love with him. However, there's this thing called experience that kind of trumps a lot of that. So I think that they have to move on from him. They have to move on from Jimmy, even though that's kind of like, the issue right now. Why not stick with something that's working still and not try to change it right now? But listen, there's pressure from up top, from the front office. They want to see Trey Lance on the football field. They want results. Listen, they decided to, we're going to invest that 3rd overall pick in this guy. That means he's got to start. He didn't start last year. Okay, he wasn't ready. This year they're saying he's still not ready. Well, at some point, you got to get him out there. You got to get him experience because he's not getting quarterback experience on the sideline.
Right.
He might be getting X's and O's and going to the quarterback room and learning the plays and how everything works and defenses and all that. But when you're out there in the element, that's when you truly learn a lot about yourself, about the offense, about the team. So it is as crazy as it is, it's almost has to happen. Jimmy G's got to be moved on from. You save that money. It gives you a greater chance of keeping Debo. Not a guarantee, but it definitely helps you out and maybe locking him in. And, or would you want to take a gamble, keep Jimmy G this year, possibly lose Debo after the season and Jimmy G? That to me is a bigger loss than anything. So big time tough decisions for them. I mean, the only good thing about this is their offensive line is rock solid. So even if you do start Trey Lance, he's going to have a good offensive line. But a lot of issues. Let's see what transpires.
Yeah, I know. Who gives them the best chance to win? Again, right now it's got to be Jimmy G.
For sure.
Again, going forward with this season, with the decisions they have to make, they basically got to say to themselves, can we do it here with Trey still? And then we all be happy, kind of, get rid of the money, be able to move forward with him and make it still
and
as
maybe
far as
keep
we can.
Debo.
Absolutely. All right, so finally here now we're looking at the Seattle Seahawks to see what they've got. And
they're going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. There you go. They're going to the Super Bowl. We know, I think, that they're going to be probably the bottom feeders of this division. So basically the question I'm asking is who will win the starting quarterback job? Because right now you've got Drew Lock that they just got from the Broncos there, along with that trade with Noah Fant, so he's in there.
Shelby Harris.
So but who knows? I mean, you don't know if he can take the starting job because you also have what the hell's their other quarterback there right now? Geno Smith was right there. So Geno Smith right now already knows the playbook. He's been there underneath Russell Wilson. So right now, the way he's been performing and doing things, the team I think is more comfortable with actually having Geno Smith as the starting role here. So. Well, how long will it take for some kind of quarterback battle to go through camp, or will Geno be the starter? I know KJ Wright has openly come out there and said if the Seattle Seahawks were smart, that they would make Geno Smith the quarterback right away because he's seen him in practice and he knows that he knows the offense and can get it done. And he even went out so much to say that he would rather have Geno Smith than Baker Mayfield even come in over there and play for them. So that's how much he is. You want to talk about a hot take there, too. KJ Wright, I almost put him on the hot take when he was endorsing Geno Smith as the running back. Well, last time he played, I think, what was it? I forget what it was, like 5 snaps. But overall, he had like 5 touchdowns and I can't remember how long he played, but I know last year he had 5 touchdowns and only 1 interception, which wasn't bad for his limited time of play. And his completion percentage was much improved from back when he was, Geno Smith from the Jets and how they were bad in things, and he couldn't work out as a starter for them. I think he's kind of matured and did a little better underneath Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson, enough to get their offense going for what they have. I mean, we all see the Seattle Seahawks this year and don't really look at a team like, oh, man, they're playoff bound again. We continuously watch this team, despite the problems that they had, make some runs just solely because of Russell Wilson and have the record that they have just because of Russell Wilson, despite getting sacked 40-plus times every season, not having an offensive line, you know what I'm saying? And now a lot of those veteran defensive guys are gone, still have your key wide receivers, but you got either Geno Smith or Drew Lock. Drew Lock coming in fresh, but does have Noah Fant that he could probably rely on that he feels comfortable with. But, it doesn't hurt when you got DK Metcalf on the other side and Tyler Lockett too as well. But he's got to get a grasp of it. But one thing he has been known for with the Broncos too is turning the ball over as well and making mistakes. And so far, that's not what Geno Smith has been doing for him.
That's the thing with Pete Carroll, though. If you ask him, he blames Russell Wilson for everything. Yeah. So, listen, the pointing the fingers of your franchise quarterback that was actually helping your offense out so much, in fact, that he literally carried the offense at times to win you games. I mean, that to me is just it's erroneous, and it was terrible of Pete Carroll to do that, because you never throw your own franchise quarterback under the bus You know what I mean?
Right.
It's absolutely insane to me, like how that all went down, and then it burnt the bridge. And then Russell Wilson definitely wanted out. You know what I mean? Gets his wish, goes to Denver. Now you have guys like Geno Smith. Geno Smith is, by the way, no, I don't care what anybody says. He is not a starting caliber quarterback. He's definitely struggled in this offense, especially against better defenses, and it's magnified by times 10. When pressure gets to him, he folds like a lawn chair. He's terrible. He ends up forcing footballs to receivers that he shouldn't be throwing to, and it's a debacle. So for Geno Smith, yes, I get it. He understands the offense right now. He's definitely better equipped than Drew Lock right this second. However, Drew Lock gives them more potential than Geno Smith. And I feel it's going to come right down to how much information can Drew Lock get down with this offense. Can he understand the offense inside and out before we get to week 1? Can he develop that chemistry with guys like DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett? I mean, those are 2 stud receivers that you're going to have at your disposal, along with his guy from Denver, Noah Fant, to play tight end. So he's got weapons. He's also got a couple of running backs. Rashad Penny coming back healthy once again. Hopefully he can remain healthy throughout the year. But a rookie in Kenneth Walker III, who I had as my number 1 running back coming out, this kid is a beast. And he goes to a team that has been looking for a running back like him, like Chris Carson, but better. He's more physical. He breaks tackles. He can catch it. He can do everything, right? So this offense just needs a quarterback to lead him. Yes, you're right, Jim. The offensive line was pitiful. Dwayne Brown goes to be a free agent. They replace him with Charles Cross, which is one of the better offensive line draft picks this year. And they managed to get him along with a couple of free agents. So hopefully, we'll see when it happens, but hopefully this offensive line is better, which is going to help Drew Lock or Geno, whoever ends up winning the starting job, going forward to put points on the board. And then their biggest weakness is defense. They don't have Bobby Wagner. They decided to move on from him. They bring in some free agents to try to, kind of put the duct tape, the Band-Aid over some of the wounds that they have with guys missing, along with another guy coming from Denver, Shelby Harris, who's going to greatly help this defensive line. This team isn't terrible, but it's definitely, like we said before, most likely they're definitely rebuilding. Everybody knows that. However, they're going most likely be on the bottom of this division, but they might pull off a surprise win or 2 throughout the season where people didn't expect it. And that's going to be something good to see for Seattle fans, because right now, I know in Seattle, sometimes it's a little depressing. You get rain a lot and everything, and now your team trades away your franchise quarterback. You're like, oh, shit, we're fucked. But maybe with some of these young players that they added, maybe they're going to do some surprises, and then maybe fans might be uplifted a little bit about the following year.
Yeah, and here's the actual stats here. I got 3 starts, 702 yards, 68.4% completion percentage with 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. So decent for that little bit, that small sample size. But again, what have we seen though also with Geno Smith at times? Again, you give him the full season, they can, pressure him out. And
I'll just say this. I'm going to leave this on the table for all you Geno lovers out there. When the Raiders played Seattle, and the Raiders had a terrible defense, mind you, Geno Smith was starting. Geno Smith threw more interceptions than he did a touchdown. Just saying. Like, this guy is not the go-to guy. Yes, initially right now, he is, because he knows the offense. But this team is rebuilding. I expect, actually, Drew Lock to win this job in the end.
Yeah, and that's the exciting thing we'll see, I guess, during training camp.
It's definitely for sure going to be, and that's the thing, is this offense for Seattle. I think it's gonna be more. How do I want to say this? They're going to be, the offensive side of the ball is going to be more ready than the defense for this season.
Oh yeah.
Because the defense has been struggling. They lost Bobby Wagner. That, to me, that's what that broke the camel's
the
back.
captain, the
You know
guy
what I mean?
who's been your guy, yeah.
So now that you lost him, who was it's like not even measurable for this defense, how important he was. Now you have an offense that's a lot younger now. You have a lot of new pieces, but it looks promising. If they can get on the same page, the offense might look okay this year. Defensively,
like you said,
still
adding Cross
too
for that offensive line to help out, because the one thing that they had struggled with last year, again, if you look at the yardage, and not even just all together, if you're like, oh, this is how many yards they got. They were the team, I think, that had the most chunk yards, so big plays got them down the field. So basically, they're first down, second down, third down, big play. Or first down, nothing. Second down, big play. And then, like barely getting it just on a big play to get them moving the ball. Yeah. So that's been getting stunted a lot. And then finally maybe getting something to get together. We saw a lot of it, big highlights to Tyler Lockett, just big runs that end up getting for a touchdown on one big chunk play. Besides that, 3 and out, 4 and out, boom, 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 just like that, gone. And so that's what they need to try and do, get some the team moving together, get that offense going, some consistency, and trying to keep it, just moving.
Yeah, and let's not forget when Russell Wilson was with Seattle down the stretch, he struggled big time.
Yeah, exactly. So, to where, people had questioned how if he was even a top 10 quarterback. Is there something? Is there an issue that we don't know about? What's the deal? Why all of a sudden does he look like an average quarterback? Yeah. Like there's a lot of questions arising there. So, with that being said, maybe this is something that's why Seattle also granted that trade, because they're like, well, where's he headed now? Right.
You know what I mean? And the other thing too is this might actually change, not dramatically, but this might change the offensive philosophy. Now that you don't have a Russell Wilson, a guy who is a veteran, a guy who's smart, who's mobile, all that. Now you might have to utilize your offense and say, oh, well, we can't just drop back and have Russell Wilson or whoever's going to be back there to run sideline to sideline to create more time, and then just bomb it down the field to DK or Tyler. Now it's going to be like more methodical, maybe.
Right.
Now it's going to be like, oh, let's get the ball. Let's get the ball to Noah Fant. Let's get the ball to DK. Let's mix it up with Tyler. Let's spread it around and become more of a balanced offense. Maybe that could be, and that's why we ask these biggest questions. And there it is. That's the NFC West biggest questions. Next week we'll start off with the AFC. It's going to be a lot of fun with those. Make sure you tune in.
Yeah, make sure you tune in. Make sure you tune in every week.
Also, I just want to say this.
Go ahead.
I want to address our podcast followers out there. Thank you guys so much for your support. Listen, if you're new to the show, if you made it this far, I really would appreciate if you follow us on anywhere you get your podcasts. Listen, take us on the ride with you. Listen, if you pay attention to our name, Football on the Know, guess what? It also goes with Football on the Go.
Yeah,
so that's the whole play on words, right? Listen, and if you want to be more interactive, if you're listening on the podcast and you want to be more interactive and you want to talk to us and comment and everything, go over on YouTube or Facebook. Search us up, Football on the Know Show. Also, if you're on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button to lock you guys in, become know-it-alls, and hit that notification bell to let you guys know when we go live. As well on Facebook, become a member, become a know-it-all. That's what it's all about. We love you guys. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank all the sponsors. You guys are amazing. See you next week.
Absolutely.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.